Welcome back to Exposed. Before the break, we were talking about prom season, and we're going to continue the show with that. So what do you think about, or what are your thoughts on prom season and drinking? Because there's a lot of those, PTA moms that I guess are maybe against prom, or like that's when you start seeing all these like commercials like on the buzz that like it's not cool for parents to host drinking parties when you're like underage.
But it's gonna happen. I mean, like, I could sit here and say I really don't think it's appropriate to drink at 16, I think it's lame, but it's gonna happen. And I mean, a lot of people do it. Whether it's a good thing or not is a different issue.
Yeah, like there was some statistic that I got it was from Columbia University's National Center on Addiction and Substance Abuse, that they did research that said over 5 million high school students admit to binge drinking at least once a month, and 80% of teenagers have tried alcohol before their senior year. But obviously, like, that's for the States, and Canada may be a bit different, but I mean, like, it's not just during prom season. I think it's only where you can realize it during prom season that so many teenagers drink.
But like her said, it's gonna happen. I mean, I remember, I think it was my grade 12, and my mom asked me, she's like, do you want to drink? And I was like, is this like a double-edged sword? Do I say yes or no? And she bought me a drink, and it wasn't so tense, but it was like good to like enjoy it rather than trying to like hide it from my mother, because you had to be 18. Like, you get a wristband. And there was some that were 18 by the time they graduated, but I wasn't, so I was like, what do I do?
And it's funny around here because you start to, when it's prom season, you start to see the limos, 3-4 o'clock. They're roaming around Ganawage. They always seem to make a stop at a certain beer store to like stock up for the night. And I'm not gonna lie, like I did that too for my prom, but at my school, it was, I guess, an issue in the past that before you would go to this room tour, like the cocktails with the teachers and stuff, people would have their parties at their house in like the early afternoon, and they'd be drinking, and someone would show up to the school to like take their picture, and then afterwards to the prom, and they'd be already kind of wasted or tipsy. So they made rules, like if they suspected you weren't allowed to attend.
Well, we graduate young over here too, like
Yeah,
16,
16.
17. And I mean, like, looking at the statistics, right, when it's a little bit different in the States because their drinking age is 21. And so, I mean, it doesn't surprise me that there's a lot of underage drinking going on.
You also graduate at grade 12.
Yeah.
Even
Which is
though,
a
like,
little bit
it
older.
seems like there's, just from like movies, it seems like there's always like junior proms and like senior proms, and I don't entirely know how it works, but
I think that's what I had, was a junior and a senior, because I had my grade 11 and then my grade 12. But even by grade 12, we are still only like 17, just barely 18. So I think there's always just that group of people that ruin it for everybody, you know what I mean? They take advantage of the fact that it's prom night and they're gonna drink, and then there's that group of people that just get a little too out of hand, and then that's when all these restrictions, I mean they shouldn't be drinking anyway, but you always get those people who go a little too far and start breaking things.
Well, at mine they had both red and white wines at all the tables, and they sold us beer.
But was it for like toasting, or just
No,
like that?
no, just to have with our meals.
Really?
Yeah.
See, that kind of, because I understand the, let's get someone to buy us alcohol, like, from the store on the corner, but actually serving it
They sold us beer in the gym as well.
in the gym?
In the gym, yeah.
yeah,
Like
'cause all the
where
Loyola proms are in the gym.
where there would be a little canteen at the dances and stuff. They sold beer instead at the prom.
Was there a limit?
I don't think
Oh
so.
boy.
Because I know that
That's crazy.
at my prom, there was like a cocktail thing at the location for parents, and you can get alcohol, but they weren't serving anyone in prom dresses. Like, and at our tables, I think the parents had wine, but our tables didn't. We had like the 7-Up type of spritzer thing.
Well, it might have been for the parents, but they gave it to all the students too. So, yeah.
Why not?
That's I'm like super shocked by that. I'm not gonna lie. No, because I've never seen that. Like, I understand if there's parents and stuff, why. Well, yeah, they're with parents, so that's why they would have alcohol. But that's cool. That sounds so bad. No, I don't think it's cool. But it's different. That's the right word.
So, going back to our first segment, we were talking about things that we disliked or liked about the prom. Was there anything else that comes to mind? I noticed because I went to my prom and I also went to the KSS prom. There's like a lot of differences, and because the KSS classes are so much smaller, I found it was so I'm not cool, but like I was envious that almost every grad had their own table for all their family. Whereas at my prom, it was because we were a bigger class and the venue was smaller. We had it was only your date, your parents.
I think I dislike definitely that, like, my prom, we didn't have family there. It was just my class and our teachers and stuff. And I think that it could have been more of an exciting reception and party and stuff there if our families were involved in it. Because then, then we could do the dances and stuff like that. Because it was like show up, eat, dance for a little bit, everybody wants to get out and go to the after parties.
My teachers weren't even invited to the dinner. They were allowed to show up, but after we ate. For like a meet and greet type of thing.
There's so many, it's strange why things happen that way sometimes.
And another thing about the KSS prom that I went to, each graduate had kind of like their own entrance. It was like they played a song and whatever, and then afterwards they had a speech, and there was even like a PowerPoint, kind of like their yearbook and stuff. And we didn't have anything, I guess, special like that at my prom. It was just
the thing where they had them walk in. I found that put a lot of pressure on finding a date, because nobody wants to walk in alone. You get your song and like everybody's coming in together, and then there's like the one person that's just kind of like riding solo.
I think the whole finding the date thing was a lot of pressure for a lot of the girls at my school too, because we were go to an all-girls school, so I went to an all-girls school, graduated from an all-girls school, sorry, and there was only maybe not even half of the class that actually had boyfriends by the time of prom, and then if they brought their boyfriend, and there was people who brought their friends. There's some girl who brought her brother, and then there's a handful that didn't bring a date because it didn't matter to them, but there was like a certain group that it's like they didn't want to feel like a loser for not bringing a date. So they got someone that they barely knew that was like a friend of a friend, and they met that night.
That's where I can see it getting awkward, because at least if you all went to the same school and you went with somebody who went to your school, then you don't have to worry about watching over them or entertaining them. That's why I'm glad I went stag. That way I didn't have to like be sitting next to somebody the whole time. If I wanted to get up and dance, I could go up and dance. I didn't have to be like, I'm gonna go if that's okay with you.
Like, yeah, I'm gonna go, and then I'm gonna dance with that person.
The pressure.
Did you feel pressure to bring a date?
Well, not particularly. I felt pressured to go to my prom, honestly. I wasn't going to go. But then everyone was just, I don't know. Well, yeah, they hyped it up like way too much, and then it was nothing.
Well, I kind of thought about not going too. I mean, I had some friends at school, but it wasn't really of interest to me. But then, everyone else is going, so you're like, okay.
You don't want to be that one that's like, oh, why didn't she come?
Yeah, there was, out of a class of 74-ish, there was only one girl who didn't go to our prom, and that's what, when we found out, everyone was like, but why not? And she just wasn't interested.
My brother didn't go to his, and I envy him for that.
And save some money.
Yeah. But I guess, any other thoughts on dates?
No.
Do you wish you brought a date, or?
Not really.
When I was helping my sister shop for her prom dress, I kind of was looking back and being like, oh, I could have did so many things differently. And actually, I did ask someone to be my date, and he said no.
I think that's the easy part about not actually having to find a date is that, I mean, in the States, it's so nice, you know, all the guys find cool ways to ask the girls, but you're like, oh, thank God I didn't have to actually do that.
And when you mentioned about like your sister, 'cause she's younger and my sister's younger too, and so when she was going through it, there was like, oh, why didn't I think of that, or why didn't I do this? Like she brought instead of a limo, they got a Rolls Royce, and it was so classy. And she had like a beautiful dress, and it was just her and her date, and then I was like,
It goes back to your Mustang thing.
I know.
and it's really funny because at Sacred Heart it's on the top of Atwater, and they have like an enclosed type of entrance thing that you can pull up your car, so they actually brought out the red carpet, and so pulling up in that vehicle must have been like, yeah, I'm bad. Like,
I made it.
yeah, so I kind of just hope that everyone that hasn't experienced their prom yet, that will be this year or will be a date, will have a good time. It may be boring, but you have to be all excited about it now.
It's an experience.
In some cases, you only do it once.
Yeah.
Yeah, or you can be like Chris and JD and go 3 times. And I
The
know,
second 2 were better than my own, though, so that made up for
because
it.
you keep getting better. Like, you know what to do and what not to do, and I kind of, yeah. No, I don't think I'd ever want to go to another prom, but I'm sure there's like a lot of people who are like, I wish I could just redo that night. But yeah. So thank you, Carissa, for coming on the show this week.
You're welcome.
And we hope you enjoyed the show. If you have any comments or questions, you can email us at mohawktv@hotmail.com, or you can give us a call at 450-632-6397. You can also send us a message through our Facebook group. Hint, hint. And so we thank you for watching, and Anna.
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 Anna.